Yeah. Good evening. Let me welcome you to our brand new Mountain View Performing Arts Center. If anybody wants to talk after about all the intricacies of this, I will totally nerd out with you, and I'm ready to do so. But let me just give you a little rundown of this space. So if you've never been to the old Mountain View, hopefully this place still looks pretty nice. But if you were at the old Mountain View, you will join me in the full appreciation of what we have now. So this is now a 600-seat auditorium. It's so big, though, most people say that they don't think that there would be more than 400 seats in here. Don't worry, I counted them. It's definitely 600. What you see right here is an acoustical shell designed specifically for performances by musical ensembles. It takes all the sound and reflects it straight out to you guys to give a true life performance of what's being created out here. So no longer do you have stuff going up into the rafters and all the extra curtains and whatnot. But the cool thing is when this is all done, these clouds up here, they fly up into the ceiling, and all this paneling gets tucked away behind stage to create a fully flown and rigged theater space. The first time that we've had one at Mountain View ever. And so we're super excited about all the different things that it can do. I'm gonna geek out a little bit more. The HVAC system is modeled after Benaroya Hall, which is the Seattle Symphony's hall that the Seattle Symphony performs in. And what you'll hear, hopefully, is absolutely nothing. It's running right now. What is below you and you up there is 20 feet of cavernous space that they pump all the air into, and by low flow pressure, it rises up, if you look in the floor, into these little bulbs that come out, and it comes up through the floor, so there's nothing ever actually pumping air into this space. So once again, we can listen to what's going on up here, okay? I know, that's probably really geeky. I got more. Come see me afterwards, okay? I need to give a big thank you to everyone in here and everyone on the live stream, to all of those who supported the Evergreen bond that created this space, as well as many others in the Evergreen School District. We finally have spaces that represent our kids, and we are so grateful for that. Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to introduce our first ensemble tonight, and our wonderful student teacher, who has been amazing, who's going to come and direct this group. Please help me in welcoming the Mountain View String Orchestra under the direction of Miss Chloe Pierce. So, because, Miss Pierce did a wonderful job, didn't she, guys? Yes. Just because of the number of pieces that we're doing, and it was so early on in the year, since she is able to jump in and do this and to be able to experience the whole process, that meant that I don't have a piece to conduct tonight. So I got to be your MC. So that's why you'll be seeing me up here tonight. One of the announcements that we got to talk about is not only do these guys sound good, but they look good. And what we've had is a momentous effort from our booster parents and volunteers and the booster board to make sure we get everybody fitted, make sure nobody's missing, and that everybody has a place and a way to look great. And so I just want to acknowledge those people and introduce our booster board. So if they're here in the back here, maybe we could just at least wave nice and big here as we're going. So Tanya Fleming and Mary Kilway are our booster presidents. Tanya, I know, is right back there. And here's Mary coming into the corner. Hours of time along with our volunteers to make sure this happens, and it always comes out looking great. Laura Knox is our secretary. She's standing right there in the middle of the two. And Janet Gunter is our treasurer, and she is a band parent, and I'm not sure she's here tonight, but you'll see her throughout the year as well. So these guys look great. We're so thankful fitting the orchestra and the band, and you'll be seeing this throughout the year. Another thing that goes along with the boosters is that we are constantly doing some fundraisers, and you can help support us this Thursday. If you look on that electronic program, there's a flyer for it, but we are having a pizza night at Mod Pizza, the one up on 192nd, not the one on Choclaw. And if you go there and just say you're with the Mountain View Instrumental Music, 20% of your order goes back to the band and orchestra. So we know how much money already we're going to make off your students because we know how much they already go there. But if you want to have a pizza night with the family and you can support the program, that would be much appreciated. I get to introduce our next director, and she is going to talk about the piece, the beautiful piece that they're going to perform next. But we need a special introduction and applause for the newly married Mrs. Chibia Ulinwa.
You guys look wonderful, just as wonderful as them. It is such a pleasure to get to make music in this space, and they are doing an absolutely phenomenal job at filling this room with amazing music. So before we play our next piece, I just wanted to read the notes about the music from the conductor, Brian Ballmakers. This piece is called Lullaby to the Moon. And this is what he has to say about his work. Many works of fiction portray the moon as a living being, particularly in children's books. One can find countless illustrations of the moon with a face on it, experiencing a wide array of emotions. This piece is written from the perspective of the living moon, alone in space while looking at the earth. This music portrays the sometimes lonely feeling of the moon, away from all the life on earth. There are also moments of comfort as the moon proudly watches over us, almost as a parent watches over his or her children from a distance. Despite feeling alone throughout the day, the moon emerges at night to light the sky and makes us feel safer on those darkest of nights. This lullaby is my own personal way of returning the favor. So as we play through this piece, everyone, I want you to feel and reflect on how this relates to you, and the beauty that each and every one of you can reflect in this world. Sometimes when we do feel like the moon. I hope that you enjoy our version of Lullaby to the Moon by Brian Ballmakers.
All right, we are going to have a quick change. We'll have the chamber orchestra come up here. We'll reset the stage and have string orchestra please come out and around like we talked about. Take a seat. All right, so one thing that we want to talk about here is, as over this last year and a half, finally coming out of COVID and coming back into a normalcy of the school year, we have to acknowledge some of the things that we just weren't able to do, and some of the institutional knowledge of the things that we had done for years and years and years and years had to all be relearned. And one of the things that we've always been very proud of and think is very, very important is championing private lessons. Because every one of the directors on this stage tonight had a great personal experience with someone who they sat down with and got instruction on their instrument from. So many of these students up here that you see and down here have been affected positively by private lessons. Private lessons, though, takes money and it takes time. And so as the boosters are always sitting around trying to think of ways that we can increase involvement and opportunity for all students. So those two questions were, how do we help out with money and how do we help out with time? Well, you can't create extra time, but we think it's so important that we're bringing back something we did before COVID, and that's offering, helping with private instruction, bringing in special teachers during the school day, during the class, to work with students who are interested. And so we're really, really happy about that, and that helps solve some of the time issue. A lot of people either can't get to a different place to take private lessons after school, or simply are busy people. These are smart people involved in a lot of different things. But we know and believe in it so much that we're willing to lose a couple people each day from our ensemble to be able to work with these awesome people that we're able to bring in. The other thing is that sometimes the financial constraints of it. So the private lesson program, and hopefully you maybe saw something brought home about it, the boosters are willing to help subsidize that in that payment. And so if you haven't heard about it and you think it might be a good thing or interesting for your student, please ask them about it. It's not too late. We had our turn in so that we can actually get everybody up and running today, but it's not too late to add other people into it. So please tell them. A lot of times private lessons is scary to people because they think that the person is just going to sit there and tell them that everything they did wrong. And that's, well, it does happen, and we hope we never bring those people back or that we never run into them in the first place. Most of it always is about encouraging and growing the person as a whole self, the confidence level to be able to play music in front of other people. It takes something that's deep inside of us that is very personal, and sometimes that's scary to let out, and that's something that we work on in bringing that out, as well as the technical ability of what they play. So if you haven't heard about that from your student and would like to know more about it, we are helping with the time, and we are willing to help with the money. We want to give this to everybody, no matter what, as long as they're interested. So, just something to think about. Our next ensemble tonight is the Mountain View Chamber Orchestra, and it is my pleasure to introduce one of my very, very good and old friends and colleague, Mr. Sam Ormson.
you so much. That was Mock Morris by Percy Granger. Granger was an Australian composer, and he's one of the first ethnomusicologists. And so he was a champion of music of the people, music in the countryside, music that was played in villages and in rural areas. And he was very much someone who believed that no matter its origin, all music had value. And so he championed these folk tunes and wrote, even though this is an original composition, he did it in the style of a Morris dance, and that was what he was going for. And it was part of what was called a room music collection, which was music that could be played in small groups. This was written originally as a solo piano piece, and then he rearranged it for 6 parts for strings that sort of turned into this string orchestra. So thank you so much. We're going to play now a tune called Maharaja, and this is inspired by Indian music. So you're going to hear some slurred pizzicatos, which are trying to imitate tabla drums. You're going to hear some triplet-based scale fragments and little bits of this that are trying to kind of imitate some of this South Asian music harmony and flavor. We hope you enjoy Maharaja. You know, with this new stage, I feel like the students are just waiting for somebody to fall off. of this stage mid-concert. It almost happened to Mr. Clausen in rehearsal the other day because there's nothing even warning you from the edge. But I do notice somebody must have got the word because when we got new podiums in the building, they have a safety rail. Or maybe that's just for my old age. Either way, I'm grateful for it. So we're so happy for this new space and this new auditorium and this entire building. If you came by on the open house, back there are our rehearsal rooms, and we're just incredibly grateful for this amazing place to make music on a daily basis. In just a couple of weeks, we are going to be hosting our annual Holiday Bazaar. Last year, if you remember, we were outside, but we're excited to be inside and in a new building. So be on the lookout early next week for an email that has opportunities for students and for parents to help on the day of. Our boosters that Mr. Clausen introduced earlier have already invested hundreds of hours of time. We have 279 vendor spaces that were completely full, I believe, sometime in September. So the demand for the bazaar is very, very high, and we've been working hard behind the scenes to make that go. But I do have a specific ask. At the end of the concert tonight, we have some treats for all of you. We don't have food or drink in here, but as you make your way out the door, we'll have some treats out in the student center. On that table with the treats will be little quarter-sized paper flyers. There are little holiday bazaar flyers. If you are a house that has a ton of trick-or-treaters on Halloween, in addition to some candy, if you want to take some of these flyers and put them in the bags, that can help get the word out. I think we've never had a problem getting a crowd here, but I would love the help in the advertising if you can. And again, in about another week, when you see that email that has opportunities for you to be a part of it on the day of that Saturday, November the 12th, and set up on Friday afternoon, the 11th, we would love to see that filled up. And so we're so grateful. Our final piece tonight is a piece by Felix Mendelssohn, and Symphonia Number 2 in D major. Now, you may know something about Mendelssohn or may not, but this piece you're about to hear is part of one of his symphonies, and he wrote this when he was 12 years old. And when I think back, I was sitting backstage and I was like, what was I doing when I was 12 years old? And I'm pretty sure I just saved up my own money and bought the original Nintendo, and I had Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt on a black and white television in my room. So I certainly wasn't I don't even think I knew what a symphony was at age 12. So Mendelssohn has a lot on me besides just this piece. But we're going to enjoy, once again, our amazing and talented student teacher, Miss Chloe Pierce, and the Chamber Orchestra on Symphonia Number 2 in D major. Help me welcome to the stage, Miss Pierce.
would be remiss if we didn't thank our band helpers and stage crew tonight. Thank you so much for being here and supporting us. The one great thing that came out of COVID is we had to learn how to be online in some way, shape, and form. So a big thank you to Matt Griffin and his audiovisual team who is live streaming tonight. Thank you so much. This is great music in here tonight. We're so glad you're an audience here. Friday, we got more music. It's a jazz extravaganza. We got Jazz Band 2, Jazz Band 1, and then we have a killer, and let me tell you, killer combo that you would pay $60 a ticket to go see at the Keller Auditorium in here Friday night for free. It's a professional group that is coming in from all over the Northwest that are actually going to be working with some of our students earlier in the day, and then we're going to be showcasing that performance and talent with the students. And then they are playing a combo set afterwards. Don't miss it. It's free here at 7 o'clock. Okay? Thank you so much for coming tonight. If we can have our stage crew come and clear the stage to help with that. You guys, you actually don't need help clear the stage. You don't need help clear the stage. Just make sure you put your stuff away. Thank you all so much for coming and have a good night.